Feeling off today? If you woke up with a strange aftertaste in your head, a vivid fragment of a dream still clinging to you, or ordinary sounds hitting like sharp edges, you're not imagining the timing. The wolf supermoon is still working. What many people describe as an aftershock window is unfolding today, and those ripples can change how the body, mind, and social world feel for the next day or two. Think of the moon's peak, like a plane touching down. The visible spectacle is just one moment, but the runway stays active afterward as the plane slows, systems recalibrate, and passengers realign. Today, and in the immediate days that follow, that runway is busy. You might already be noticing a few things. A dream that felt unusually detailed, a slight pressure at the temples, noise suddenly wearing on you, or a sense that time is behaving strangely. These are the kinds of changes people most often report in the wake of a supermoon. Heightened dreaming, subtle cranial sensations, sensory amplification, unpredictable energy swings, altered perception of time, faster feedback between intention and outcome. A clearer attunement to animals and nature, sleep that feels restorative yet unsettled, and social interactions that cut through small talk into directness. I want to walk through these experiences with you in order so you can recognize them, respond gently, and maybe even use this window as a moment of quiet recalibration rather than disruption. If this is resonating with you, subscribe for more lunar updates and drop a brief comment about any odd dream or sensation you had last night. I'd love to hear what you're noticing. Dreams are often the first sign. Many people tell me that the night after a supermoon brings unusually vivid, sometimes cinematic dreams. Scenes that feel staged with perfect lighting, dialogues that land like truth, or symbolic images that stick with you throughout the day. Some dreams arrive like short films, crisp locations, clear faces, and a sense that the dream is trying to show you something important. Others feel like a sifted memory, everyday moments rearranged into new meanings. You may wake remembering one image more than a narrative, a child holding a broken compass, a doorway filled with fog that clears when you step through, an old house suddenly painted a new color. These images can carry emotional clarity. A single dream scene might reveal a tension you've been avoiding or point to a small, realignment-ready choice. It's common for dreams during this window to feel more than just entertaining. They can feel instructive or even prophetic in the softest sense, meaning they demand your attention without promising certainty. Lucid moments can flare up. You have the sudden awareness that you're dreaming and can influence the dream's path for a breath or two. Other nights bring a sense of hyper-realism, where the distance between dream logic and waking logic thins, and you wake with a stronger sense of what matters to you. If that happened to you last night, it may help to write down the images now. Don't worry about interpreting everything. A simple sketch, a few words, or a line about how the image made you feel creates a map you can revisit in a day or a week to see how the feeling lines up with choices you make. Did you notice that odd tightening at the brow, a gentle pressure behind the eyes, or a warmth at the crown? You're not alone. A large number of people describe a transient cranial sensation in the hours after a major lunar event. It tends not to be painful, more like an internal adjustment, a brief recalibration in the headspace. Imagine your skull as a sensitive instrument, slowly retuning after being exposed to extra light. That sensation can be subtle, a softness, a slight band of pressure, a sense that your head is clearing and then resetting. For some, the feeling moves behind the eyes, across the forehead, or down into the neck and shoulders. It can arrive with a yawn, or during a lull in the day, almost like your nervous system is aligning to a new sensitivity. At the same time, the volume on your senses can feel turned up. Ordinary sounds, cafe chatter, the hum of an air conditioner, a friend's laughter, may feel heavier, closer, or even intrusive in ways that don't match how you usually react. Crowds can seem dense, not because there are more people, but because your internal circuits are simply louder. When your inner volume rises, the outer world feels amplified. This is why some of us find ourselves seeking quiet spaces today, a park bench under bare trees, a car parked with the engine off and music low, a corner of the home with soft light. Choosing reduced stimuli is not avoidance. It's a practical way to give your system space to integrate whatever is shifting inside you. If you plan to move through busy places today, try a few small experiments. Take shorter, intentional exposures to noisy environments instead of long sessions. Use a gentle ear cover or softer headphones if music helps. Schedule phone calls for moments when you feel more grounded rather than forcing conversations during a sensory spike. Remember, these are options, not rules. For many people, simply acknowledging that their tolerance for noise might be lower makes social plans feel manageable rather than intimidating. Energy rhythms can feel unpredictable now. You may find the day punctuated by jolts of alertness, brief windows where everything is crisp and you can focus with unusual clarity, followed by sudden drops where the simplest task feels heavy. It's as if your internal battery is running a quick diagnostic, testing circuits and reallocating resources. 1 hour you're composing an email with laser focus. The next, you're staring at a mug, waiting for the intention to lift. People often interpret these shifts as mood swings, but another way to see them is as signals. The system is sampling different calibrations, testing which parts of your life still fit. To work with this pattern, consider micro-pacing. Instead of committing to long stretches of uninterrupted productivity, build brief rest margins into your day. 10-minute pauses after an intense stretch, a short walk when clarity wanes, a single breath exercise to recenter. These pauses aren't about forcing consistency. They're about honoring the natural variation you might be experiencing. If you're in a creative zone during one of the spikes, accept the momentum and capture it. Write a paragraph, sketch an idea, send that message. If the energy drops, allow rest without judgment. Over the next 24 to 72 hours, you'll likely notice the patterns settle into a new rhythm. Time itself often feels odd during these windows. Some people describe days that stretch long, every hour drawn out and heavy, while weeks seem to slip by with surprising speed. Other folks feel like time pulses, intense moments that feel like hours, followed by gaps that compress into minutes. This altered time perception can make planning seem unreliable. You might underestimate how long a meeting will feel or overestimate your capacity to be on for back-to-back commitments. It's helpful to bring a soft awareness to how you experience minutes today. A practical step is to break the day into small, tangible segments, tasks that can be completed in 20 or 30 minutes, so your sense of accomplishment matches the day's subjective tempo. A related and fascinating effect is the tightened feedback loop between action and response. In this window, small choices often produce faster, more noticeable external reactions. A brief, honest message could shift a conversation. A tiny act of clarity, a direct no, a gentle boundary, may change how someone responds to you almost immediately. This doesn't happen in every interaction, but it happens often enough that many people feel empowered to experiment with authenticity. Think of it as a period when the social fabric is more responsive. The world reflects back choices more quickly, which can be a useful litmus test for what aligns with you. This sharper cause and effect can be liberating. If you've been testing a new habit, a small public step might get a rapid reaction that helps you decide whether to continue. If you need to be honest in a relationship, a brief clarity may reveal whether that relationship has more space for you now. The risk is moving too quickly on big, irreversible decisions during a heightened moment. The counterbalance is to use the feedback as data rather than instruction. Notice the immediate response, take a moment, and then decide whether to act further. Small experiments are your friend right now. Try a clear sentence instead of a long speech. Set a minimal boundary first and watch how the world replies. You might notice animals behaving differently around you, or you feeling more attuned to them. Dogs may seem calmer, birds sing with surprising clarity, and plants may appear more vivid. Many people report that nature feels more present, as if the small cues you normally miss become clearer. Animals tend to respond to shifts in energy. During a lunar aftershock, some animals show increased steadiness or a softer nervousness, depending on their individual sensitivity. If you have a pet, you might find them seeking proximity or offering calm as you process internal changes. Take this as an opportunity to slow down. Watch the way a dog rests its head. Notice the patterns of birds on a branch. Observe how the wind moves a curtain. These small acts of attention are grounding and remind us of rhythm and belonging. Sleep during this window can feel paradoxical. You may sleep for hours and wake with the body physically rested, yet mentally not fully settled. This is often described as transitional sleep. The body's muscles and organs get the repair they need, but the mind remains in a lighter register, as if part of it has been kept awake to receive information. That can produce a sense of waking with images from the night still vivid, or a feeling of having been somewhere else and needing time to return fully. If your rest felt interrupted in this way, honor the difference between physical recovery and mental integration. Short, gentle activities in the morning, walking barefoot on grass, sipping tea in silence, sketching a dream image, can help bridge that gap. Social interactions tend to lose their padding in moments like these. Small talk often falls away in favor of more direct communication. People are less willing to perform and more likely to say what they really mean. That can be refreshing or uncomfortable, depending on your context. You might find colleagues suddenly more candid in a meeting, or friends asking pointed questions that cut to the heart. In settings where nuance is expected, a little extra patience can go a long way. In places where clarity has been missing, this is an opening. Consider using straightforward language rather than indirect signals. If you want to test the waters, offer a brief, honest observation and see how others respond. The feedback is likely to come quicker than usual, which can accelerate decisions about relationships and boundaries. At the deepest level, many people describe a quiet identity recalibration during these lunar aftershocks, a subtle but meaningful reorientation of self. This isn't typically a dramatic overnight change. Instead, it is a soft unveiling of latent parts of you that were waiting for permission to surface. You may notice a diminished tolerance for things that once felt passable, a job routine that now feels constricting, a friendship where your voice was always half muted, an old story you're tired of telling about yourself. These realizations can arrive like a gentle but firm inner realignment. You find yourself reaching for different language, tightening a boundary, or enjoying an activity that used to feel impractical. This recalibration favors authenticity over performance. Instead of grand revolutionary acts, expect small, steady shifts. You might begin to reorder your week to protect creative time, say no to commitments that drain you, or choose a different style of communication. The change is less about becoming a new person and more about letting the true contours of who you are show up with less friction. In practice, that means testing new limits gently. If you feel compelled to stop volunteering for a task that drains you, try bowing out of the next instance and notice how it lands. If you suddenly want to wake earlier for quiet writing, try it for a few mornings before deciding to make it permanent. The aftershock period offers accelerated insight. Integration takes patience. Small, practical gestures can help you navigate this window safely and gracefully. Observe first. Notice without needing to immediately fix what you feel. If dreams are vivid, keep a notebook beside the bed and jot down fragments without editorializing. A few keywords are enough. If you sense cranial pressure or subtle discomfort, slow your breath, hydrate and rest your eyes, rather than searching for immediate solutions. If noise feels intolerable, step outside for a few minutes or move to a quieter room. Temporary reduction of stimuli often gives the nervous system space to settle. When energy spikes arrive, capture them. Write, speak, move, because those bursts can be exceptionally productive. When energy dips come, allow brief reprieves without shame. Another helpful practice is to treat conversational interactions as experiments. If social feedback is arriving quickly, try small acts of clarity, express a concise preference, ask a direct question, or offer a short boundary. Observe how people respond and use that information to guide your next steps. If an exchange feels raw, pause and give yourself and the other person space to integrate. There is a tendency, during these windows, to want to resolve everything immediately. Prefer gentle testing over sweeping decisions. As you notice changes, keep in mind that variability is normal. Not everyone experiences every effect, and intensity varies widely. The language of aftershock is useful because it emphasizes phase and process rather than permanence. These shifts, vivid dreams, sensory amplification, time warp days, sharper feedback loops, animal attunement, transitional sleep, social clarity, and identity recalibration, are usually temporary in their intensity, though they can reveal longer-term directions for your life. Treat them as data points, information that helps you make more informed choices in the days ahead. If you find yourself struggling in a way that feels more than transient, if distress is severe or lasting, reach out for appropriate support. There is no shame in contacting a trusted friend, a healthcare professional, or a counselor when you need it. Most lunar aftershock sensations pass with gentle care and time, but persistent or intense distress benefits from appropriate attention. For the rest of today and the next couple of days, you might try a short practice to stay grounded. Each morning, take 5 minutes to record one dream fragment, one bodily sensation you noticed, and one small choice you made that felt aligned. That little log becomes a mirror for the window. Pattern emerges from a few days of notes, and you can see whether a new rhythm is forming. Over time, these small entries can reveal the unfolding of your internal recalibration without the pressure to force change. Remember, too, that connection with nature can be a stabilizer. Even a brief encounter with a tree, a patch of sky, or a quiet shoreline can anchor you when the inner world is pinging with intensity. Animals, in particular, can be soothing partners through this window. Their non-verbal presence and uncomplicated companionship often provide a felt sense of safety when human conversation becomes too direct or noisy. As the aftershock window settles over the coming 24 to 72 hours, expect integration rather than full resolution. The moon's influence in this sense acts like a tide that exposes new contours along a shoreline, some rocks you knew, some features you hadn't noticed. You don't need to fix every exposed rock. Choose one small, practical action that honors what you're discovering. A single sentence in a journal, a short walk in the afternoon, a clear but gentle message to someone, or an extra hour of sleep. Let those small actions be the test probes of this time. If you feel uneasy about moving too fast, remember the runway image. The plane has touched down, but it is not yet parked. Systems are still adjusting. You can stay in your seat, observe the cabin lights, and wait for a clearer sense of arrival before making major shifts. Or if a practical small step feels right, take it and treat the immediate response as useful data rather than final judgment. There is wisdom in both patience and small experimentation. In closing, the key to using today's Wolf Supermoon aftershock is curiosity with kindness. Notice what's different without turning it into drama. Allow dreams their images. Give the headspace to recalibrate. Choose quiet when you need it. capture sudden bursts of clarity, and speak with simple honesty when social situations call for it. These ripples are an invitation to recalibrate, not a verdict on who you are. Over the next day or two, pay attention to the patterns that repeat and let small, gentle choices guide you toward greater alignment. If you experienced anything unusual, an image that won't leave you, a tightness at the brow, a moment of startling clarity, share it in the comments so we can gather a picture of this window together. If you found this helpful, like the video and subscribe for more seasonal lunar guidance and practical ways to work with these shifts. See you in the comments. Tell me one dream image or one sensation you noticed today.